Hello everyone, MS here. We are in the Chelyabinsk region in the city of Zlatoust, and today we are going to look at the nuclear undergrounds of Russia's harshest region. Stick around. We are visiting the Zlatoust Lenin machine building plant, specifically its abandoned section, which used to manufacture and engrave cold weapons. Initially the task was quite simple: get into the factory's shelter. But as we searched for the entrance to this bunker, our hike turned into a full-blown stock urbex exploration of this enterprise. The video is split into two parts, and in these two parts you will see everything. A descent down an almost vertical mountain. Huge hellish mechanisms. This is a mess, this is a flywheel, that is a flywheel, this is a mess, and well, the bunker itself. Naturally, some photo perversions. And a little bit of hellish trash fun. The most hardcore stage of our journey begins now. My only fail is that my pants keep on rolling back down. For dessert, practically at the end of the second part, I'll tell you a little nuance about our hike. The winter of 2013 to 2014 inches street, Petersburg turned out to be almost snowless and very slushy. In Zlatoust, however, the amount of snow went off the charts. This will be noticeable later in the video. For now, the snow is only knee-deep, but climbing uphill is already quite difficult due to lack of practice. Anyway, people, here is our task. Somewhere here, there should be two vent shafts, a cargo one and a personnel one. I don't think I need to explain what a vent shaft is. Some crap that goes downwards. As for how it looks, it might look buried, it might not be buried. It might have a head frame is some structure on top, or it might have a concrete hatch. Firstly, watch your step. Secondly, look around. Just if you see something unearthly, something artificial, then speak up, because I might get too distracted pushing through the snow. Let's go to that slope for now. I've just climbed an electrical transmission pylon, and I'm scanning the area to find the head frame of that wonderful vent shaft. I think I saw it somewhere over there. Here I am, and here are the guys. Walking past the remains of football goalposts. The local guys confirm their right to be called the toughest, because there is a power line pylon there, and here is a pretty steep slope, and surely they play here in winter or spring. Actually, it's inconvenient to film. I keep falling through. Dangerous. Okay, comrades, I'm climbing here, and generally I can get down. Maybe there's a way out somewhere else. I just need you to look and assess your strength. We've encountered a situation. There are platforms here. Apparently there used to be a ladder here, a platform further down, a platform even further down. And if there was a ladder before, then there's just this wooden birch trunk, and then nothing. Meaning, I can climb down this birch trunk, but then I'll end up in an informational vacuum, unknown territory. So now we'll check the neighboring shaft and figure out where it makes more sense to climb down. Whether to risk it here somehow, or there. Returning to the previous trunk, we became convinced once again that not everyone in our company could handle even a rope descent. And we have to count on the worst case scenario. The entrance to the object must be at the bottom, and not just one, judging by the scale of the factory. So, we are crawling down to look for an entrance. The slope is almost vertical in places. You have to cling to trees. Lower yourself down on your arms at full height, searching for any foothold with your feet, a sea of adrenaline. And the most unpleasant part is that we are visible in the palm of a hand. However, no risk, no reward. The main thing is not to break any bones. And we didn't want to think about how we would climb back up here, since most likely it would be in the dark. And the fact that we were leaving a bunch of tracks in the snow giving us away wasn't particularly pleasing either. By the way, pay attention to my friend. Do you think he is sitting? No, he is standing. I found one of the entrances at the bottom, because climbing in from above through the shafts is practically unrealistic. The ends there are unreliable, but the entrances are securely sealed. The blast doors are closed. And our next find is this transformer substation. A voltage transformer cell, a voltage transformer, good stuff. Readings are taken from it, meters are connected, and so on. Here is substation No. 6. upper disconnector, lower disconnector, attention. All the copper has been scrapped. Strange. Why is it scrapped? Well, basically, total destruction. Everything has been pulled out. Nobody needs anything. Amazing. Right. Meters still remain. And some relays. There's still copper to be scavenged from some places. To some, it might look like a radiation sign, that something radioactive is located here. But no, I will disappoint you. This is called a blinker. In case some protection triggers, and you'd be surprised, actually in power supply, there are quite a lot of these protections. This blinker is connected to the protection circuit, and it turns, thereby changing its color characteristic. So we passed through the substation room and entered a room with a bunch of papers. It says air consumption schedule. This is related to compressors. Now, if we cross-reference this with the switchgear cells in the substation labeled compressor cell, it implies that right next to us, and so we walk down the corridor and enter a massive hall. Apparently this is the compressor room itself, and it is simply mega epic. PKZ. I don't know what that stands for, maybe some local compressor plant. Anyway, look at these flywheels. I can tell you that when I wrote my diploma in technical college, I had a 2-motor setup with pulse regulation, and my load was a flywheel weighing 800 kilograms. It was tiny compared to this. Here, the flywheel is monstrous. It doesn't even fit in the camera frame. It definitely weighs several tons. Mother of God, you just can't imagine the size of this thing. Just to make it clear for you guys, this is MS. This is the flywheel. This is the flywheel. This is MS. MS is just small and light compared to this flywheel. Honestly, I'm in shock. They pumped air here in huge quantities. What this was all needed for, I honestly don't know. But we'll try to find out, or maybe we won't. Well, we walked around this room a bit, figured things out, and now I can roughly tell you how this whole thing worked. The only thing I can't tell you is why they needed such a massive amount of air. So it all starts here, right from this huge flywheel. Most likely this flywheel is nothing other than the motor. The essence is, this bed plate is stationary. On the other side, this rotor spins. You see the drive gear. Roughly speaking, the moving part rotates relative to the stationary part, which has the winding, and the rotation speed is set. I won't go into too many details. We found a voltmeter, or rather a kilovoltmeter. As you can see, its scale goes up to 7.5 kilovolts. So 6 kilovolts is the voltage supplied to the motor. That explains why we didn't see transformers in the substation room. There was just switchgear distributing the incoming voltage to these motors, along with some protection devices. And here is the control panel for all this stuff, confirming my words. Stage 1, discharge. Stage 2, discharge. There is also refrigerator outlet air. Air heats up during compression and needs to be cooled for various reasons. Ultimately, cooled air takes up less volume, so there will be more compressed air per unit of pipe volume, and the efficiency of the whole installation will be higher. Naturally, nothing is left. Buttons. You can press a button, but it doesn't start. The most pleasant thing in abandoned Soviet factories is the soda machine. Sparkling water, chilled water, a portion of salt. Are you hot, dude? Here, take a portion of salt. Good. Unfortunately, the machine can't give us soda or salt or even a kick in the ass right now. Maybe that's good. Judging by the inspection plate on the crane beam, this place was abandoned not too long ago. The last full inspection was the 8th of December 2002. So, roughly speaking, 10 or 11 years ago, everything started to fall into disrepair. It's surprising that not everything has been scrapped for metal yet. Once again, we have to go out into the snowy middle of nowhere. So, we entered the building through a window very gracefully, good for us, and met a calendar from 1993. This was probably a latrine. No, not a latrine. Maybe some kind of sauna. Walking through the room, we exit into this production hall. Here are the remains of a pipe. There was surely a boiler room here before. But the room is too large for just a boiler room, so maybe next to the boiler room there was something else. I can't tell you exactly what, but everything is destroyed and collapsed. As you can see, there is no floor as such, and honestly, I don't want to walk on these brick remnants. Our task is still to find the entrance to the bomb shelter. Here is a room that was clearly used for electronics repair. It feels like People just brought stuff here to fix, because there are remains of double cassette players and radios lying around. This clearly doesn't relate much to the factory. And here is some loot without the bulb, but still cool. Literally 10 years ago, people walked here, did things, worked, ate. There is even a sauna somewhere here. And basically, that's it. Nobody needs anything anymore. Zlatoust testing laboratory for food products and raw materials. Sampling protocol, year 99. Organoleptic indicators and so on. Okay, what did they test? Wheat pan bread. Aha, clear. The most important thing is that all this is in a small room behind bars, with a door that has a little window. Usually, they either store weapons or hand out salaries in places like this. Oh, cool! We found the sauna! Stones, benches. Workers from the factory used to enjoy life here. Maybe just workers. Maybe workers with women, we don't know. In one of the rooms, it's total mysticism. Shell casings are lying around. My body says 5.45 caliber, and the silhouette target is visible, but there are no holes. Where the shots went and what they hit is unclear. Maybe they were shooting at themselves. Anyway, it's unclear. And Mickey Mouses clearly hang out here, judging by their droppings. People in this building definitely didn't deny themselves anything. Sauna, shooting range, feeding birds. They even had a fancy grill. People were living in luxury here. I'm not even specifying where I am or where I'm entering anymore. Some building by the mountain, there is a staircase leading to a basement room under the workshop. We'll go down now and see what's there. Tunnel goes off into the distance somewhere. Looks a bit sketchy. Ah, I get it. This was likely the air intake. It's an air duct collector. We climbed up from this air duct via a metal ladder. We are now at the level of the 1.5 or second floor. Under all this, that air collector runs away. This room was responsible for pumping air into the workshop. We can only guess what was in the workshop, but hopefully I'll find it on the internet later. Our task is to penetrate over there. That's presumably the entrance to that second facility we've been looking for. And here we are, inside the bomb shelter. Hooray, we won, we found it. And what do we see? An open blast door, a welcomingly open blast door, the frame of the lock, and a second blast door. So this was an airlock. Just so you know, these two doors would close tight, providing radiation protection and protecting the facility from any explosion consequences. Well then, let's go deeper inside and explore what's there. Literally 15 or 20 meters in, we see a separate room, stuffed with these icicles. Guys, this is just super. It's awesome. It glows. I need to take a photo. Light fixtures, paired beautiful ice stalagmites. And here the tunnel goes somewhere again. We are walking parallel to the main tunnel now. The entrance we came in was entrance number 3. Accordingly, we saw entrance number 1, which we couldn't get into. We haven't seen entrance number 2. The stalagmites form such bizarre shapes. Someone diligently dragged something along the tunnel, judging by the marks in the concrete. 2 blast doors, apparently prepared to be scrapped. But the question is, why didn't they drag them out? Probably because it's difficult. Let's see what's at the end of the tunnel. So, having walked a bit along the tunnel, we see another exit to the surface. Well, we see a beautiful sunset outside. I'm actually not going out. Well, the room I didn't enter at the start. What do we see? A sink. A cistern. This was likely the toilets. Maybe showers? Or maybe just... Here is an individual toilet. A pedestal. Here is the cistern that filled simply and beautifully. And where did it all drain? Here is the soil pipe. And here is the drain from all these tanks. Okay, clearly, this is the latrine. So, in case of a nuclear strike, part of the engineers and high-ranking personnel were supposed to sit on these thrones. The factory director on this throne, and his deputies on that throne. And accordingly, from here, they would give orders and figure out how to act in the situation. The facility is truly huge, a small blind drift. We will continue moving that way later, but now let's figure out what is here. The tunnel branched off at an angle, then split into 2 parts again. Part number 1 is apparently closed. Part number 2 is a bit flooded here. Behind this blue-green tank, there are these specific red tanks. These are fire suppression water tanks for fire needs, and they connect to their corresponding hydrants. Holy crap, this is frozen solid, hard frozen. To get out of here, you'd have to lick a passage for yourself at the very least. I approached from the other side, and look, they are shining flashlights at me from that side. They can't shine through because the thickness of the water, the thickness of the ice frozen here is just epic. It's a meter thick, if not more. Nightmare. And so, we are exiting the facility to the outside. And what do we see? We see the mountain, we see the workshop. A long, long workshop. Everything is silent. But nevertheless, there are car tracks, fresh ones. So I think if we meet factory workers or security right now, they clearly won't be happy to see us. And the most logical thing to do is to retreat into the shelter. Ah, forget it, we're not like that. Sliding gates through which a car was clearly supposed to enter. It says, ring the bell. Well, there's even a piece of the bell. Wait, let me zoom in. Yes, there was definitely a bell here before. And basically that's it. So the room is abandoned but sealed. Attention, sealed. Seal number. Ha ha ha. A characteristic building. Interesting. With a bunch of ventilation pipes. Why it was needed is unclear. We looked through one window. Nothing special there. In the next episode, more bunker, water trash fun, and some nuances of our hike. Stick around, like and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye, MS was with you.